All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. Sorry about the the extraneous mic sounds. Hold on, 1 second. This mic's okay. It's just a little wiggly and jiggly, and also sounds like I'm in a tin can a little bit. But how y'all doing? Good to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. We're live on Rockfin. What's up, Rockfin people? Hello, hello. Squirrel pox, is that a thing? Simul streaming on Rockfin? I can't do that. Or at least I don't think I can. I mean, I guess I could. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to do it. I appreciate your question, Gene. I am trying to get people over onto the Substack platform, and so as of right now, we're still just doing Substack, and I'm going to try. Tomorrow's going to be much smoother, I promise. I need to actually kind of hang out on Substack a little more. I don't know why I don't. Seems like a pretty good, they seem to be evolving as a platform in a pretty nice way. I think I need a pop filter on this mug. Squirrel pox is the thing in the UK and Ireland. Okay. Yeah, so it may change in the future, but let's I'm just trying to keep it Substacky on Fridays. So tomorrow is Friday. And tomorrow will be a Substack only stream. So please go on over to Substack and subscribe, follow, join the channel. I just dropped the links in the description box. So please hang out there. It's going to be way smoother than it was last Friday. I predict. But we'll see how it goes. And this is actually kind of a frightening. This is from Substack and kind of describes where we are at the moment. Imagine living in a world where you can get arrested or suspended for saying don't kill children because it might hurt the feelings of the killers. Well, no imagination necessary, because that's what's happening. All right, well, let's here we go. I can't tell whether this is a comedy bit or not, because this is almost, he seems like he's saying this seriously. And I don't believe that Jon Stewart is this stupid or naive or like, what? Oh, really? Is that really going on? I don't want to believe it. I can't believe it on some level. But we're going to listen to this. It is almost a comedy skit from Jon Stewart, but I don't know if it's intended to be.
So you're saying if you have a media machine that purposefully lies to its people to maintain a political fiction and get themselves power, that is the hallmark of an authoritarian system. not a democratic system.
Absolutely.
Well, if we were ever to get something like that in the United States, we would be horrified, furious to know that there was an entire media organization designed to bend reality, to manipulate facts, to maintain power. It would, if I may, and I'm not trying to slam Hungary, it would never happen in the United States. It's just not, I almost can't even conjure it, imagine it. It must be very difficult to live in a country where one media organization, out of whole cloth, knowingly, explicitly, maybe even in meetings behind the scenes, might say, we're lying to our audience. Holy shit. And then call for news people to be fired for telling the truth. I mean, if something like that happened in the United States, it would be a dark day indeed. So I appreciate you raising the alarm bells for us.
The look on her face is like, dude, revelation of the method. And I was just thinking, yesterday when I was saying that everybody is complicit, they've been carrying these secrets forward, JFK, 9/11, et cetera, right? they've been pushing, this aiding and abetting forward for so many decades. It doesn't just implicate the people that were involved, it implicates all the people that were covering it up as well, right? So yeah, I can't tell whether he seems like he's saying that in earnest. But anyways, so what we have had over the last couple of years is a revelation of the method. It is right. Everyone suddenly turning truther. Everybody suddenly being a conspiracy theorist. Everybody going like, oh, what, And part of it, or at least most of it on the part of the people in power, it's probably for the purposes of wriggling out of that box of being implicated as someone who's helping to cover up a crime, right? If you're suddenly like, oh, yeah, totally. This has totally been going on, right? And it could be what RFK is involved in, but being, it seems like there's quite a few people involved in the Trump administration and, kind of around the Trump administration or around the alternative media space in revealing things that have been covered up. And now they're admitting to certain things happening. I feel like kind of as a release valve. Yeah, it's his ambiguity was intentional. Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me to think that he just doesn't see what's going on, but Greenland just hit a historic record and hit it in March, which is supposed to be historically cold in jolly old Greenland. Historic warmth in Greenland after days between 10°C and 14°C plus. Narsarsuaq, I don't know how to say it. Right? Narsarsuaq. Last night failed to drop below 10.9°C. This is the hottest night ever recorded in March in Greenland. This is 20°C above normal and also above the July average. Insane. Speaking of health services in the United States. The CDC, the Trump White House withdrew Dr. David Weldon's nomination as CDC director before a confirmation hearing. Weldon questioned potential links between vaccines and childhood neurodevelopment disorders like autism and introduced legislation to ban mercury in vaccines. So they were supposed to be more transparent for, supposedly. A more transparent administration, and then they're walking that supposed transparency back. Here's David Weldon speaking a bit.
There's I think, some very, very troubling issues that have not been resolved. And the thing that I continue to find extremely disturbing is the fact that the CDC still does not allow researchers access to the vaccine safety data. If everything was so objective and any scientist at all can look at this stuff, it would be one thing, but they continue to deny people access to this information. And until we get a free and open dialogue within the scientific community, I don't think, for one, I will ever be satisfied that there isn't some data suggesting that some children may have serious side effects from some of these vaccines that is really going undetected, unnoticed, and yes, it may actually cause autism. To a certain extent, the problem is we're trying to investigate a sacred cow. And for a lot of people in the medical community, there's this tremendous fear. If you say anything negative about vaccines, then parents will stop vaccinating their kids, and then you'll have all these outbreaks of these diseases. I don't think parents are that stupid. I think parents will continue to vaccinate their kids. We have a responsibility to them to really find out if there's truth in all this, and I don't think the answers are in. I objected to the language that was put in the Homeland Security Act on protecting the vaccine producers. And, Mr. Waxman just said that these studies show that it's safe, and then he criticized us for protecting, he criticized the Republican leadership for protecting the manufacturers. Well, if what he said that they're safe, then why should he be critical of us protecting the manufacturers?
Yeah. You got type 1 diabetes from MMR? Really? Shit, man. Yeah, I see people all the time with injuries, and it breaks my heart. This is wild. This doesn't make any sense. This is like John Podesta running for president. Like, this is Rahm Emanuel is going to run for president. He's gearing up to run for president. He wants to attack Trumpism from the center. Okay. For one thing, everybody knows how dirty this guy is. Like, I don't really understand this. Like, he thinks that people are going to take him seriously. Like, it's, again, this is like John Podesta. Like, everybody knows this guy is a dirty inside politician. He's been around forever, and he's not any kind of lefty or any kind of, like, classic. He's a machine operator. And he's like a political insider that is known to be, and he kind of left office in disgrace in Chicago. Like, people did not like what he was doing there. Feel like that he was surrounded by scandals in Chicago. And I know it's that to me is also weird too, because he's, just another Zionist. I mean, does the play look any more fake now when it's, Zionist versus Zionist, spy versus spy, Zionist versus Zionist, and they're all serving the same agenda, whatever that is, which is Israel über alles, which is, whatever technocratic world domination agenda that, the Zionists are up to. But so they're all serving the same people, same agenda, same. But it just seems bizarre to me that this guy would actually run and be actually think that he could be a serious contender, because I feel like he's so tainted. It's like, why? It's just weird. I know that some people think that like Gavin Newsom is next in line for the Democrats. Why would you do that? Gavin Newsom, nobody likes Gavin Newsom. People in California hate Gavin Newsom, like with a passion. You want to ensure that the Democrats lose? Then I guess Gavin Newsom is your guy. Or is he somebody believable, somebody who fits the profile enough so that if you did swing the election his way, everybody would be like, oh, sure. Yeah, sure. He won. Sure. He won president. But I wouldn't for a second believe it, because Gavin Newsom is absolutely loathed in this state, absolutely hated in this state by left and right. I don't even know how he's still in office. I don't really get it. Man, that sucks, Denver. Yeah, dude. I mean, yep. And the craziest part is, you're vaccinating against something that it really isn't deadly. It's not really like that. Measles, mumps, and rubella. It's not like some rampant scourge, but they try to make you think it is. Anyways, Rahm Emanuel laying it down for the getting weird, just getting for everything getting going towards Weirdland. I don't know. I would be as shocked if like John Podesta ran for, like, really? John Podesta, like everybody knows that dude is on some weird stuff. I feel like everybody knows that Rahm Emanuel is on some weird stuff. Like, why? How would that even fly? The mayor of Miami Beach is trying to end a lease agreement for an independent film theater after it screened Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land. They're just screening a movie. Miami Beach mayor moves to end O Cinema lease after screening of Israeli-Palestinian film. Wow. Brianna Jogaray goes on to say disgusting work. I'm telling you, the unintended consequences, the blowback from this, all of this stuff, they don't really understand that it's going to be mighty. They're pushing people. they're really pushing this to a point where people are going to have to be. Are people still chatting on YouTube? Because I haven't seen a chat come up in a while. Are y'all still there? It looks like people are still watching, but YouTube is doing that weird thing again. Or maybe it's Rumble Studio. I don't know. Hopefully Rumble Studio doesn't cut out on me like it did yesterday. They're going like, full steam ahead, headlong into fascism at the hands of the Zionists, whatever, however you want to anagram that. But the problem is that, nobody supports this, and the support is going down. And the support is going to turn into some serious anger and resistance. Support for Israel among Americans is at its lowest level in more than 25 years of polling history. Well, why wouldn't it be? Because nobody supports this, left or right. This isn't about college students. This isn't about secret Hamas terrorists. It's not. It's just nobody likes this, and they're trying to make it seem like somebody's doing something. This is just the the thing. JD Vance, people were talking to JD Vance talking about JD Vance's speech in Germany about free speech and how, Europe was going in the wrong direction because they were squashing free speech. But we seem to be doing a pretty good job of that too. Much of what JD Vance said in his lecture to Europe about free speech was substantively correct. But the administration standing to make those arguments completely evaporates when it turns around and enthusiastically tramples over the First Amendment, which is what it is doing in the way. I mean, we didn't really talk about too much about the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil. Massive protests going on in universities across the country, as they should be.
It directly contradicts the United States foreign policy. That's the Secretary of State. That's in charge of the Secretary of State. We consider a national security threat. When you're on campus, and they say, and I hear freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Can you stay in a movie theater and yell fire? Can you slander somebody's burger? Free speech has limitations, but when you go to college campus, you incite protesting and locking down and taking over buildings and damaging property and handing out leaflets for Hamas, who is a terrorist organization. Coming to this country either on a visa or becoming a resident alien is a great privilege. But there are rules associated with that. You might be able to get away with that stuff in the last administration, but you won't under this administration. It directly contradicts the United States foreign policy. That's the Secretary of State. That's in charge of the Secretary of State. We consider a national security threat.
Okay. But this is kind of the emergence of what people have been warning against, which is that, soon thank you, Grapentine. Thank you. Indeed, like it up. So what I was saying is the end goal of bringing the fight against terrorism home to the U.S. to U.S. soil That's what this is. These are the very early steps of turning everybody, anybody who's anti-establishment or anti what's going on, and just turning the, labeling them with whatever the label is, and then using whatever justification and or just the fact that they're, the authority of your power to silence them, right? By just labeling them a criminal or I'm seeing people being labeled activists. Elon Musk was calling people activists, activist judges, or what does that mean? Activist. What does that even mean? I mean, they're trying to tie, they're trying to make it seem like activist equals woke, or woke equals, it's very vague. But when, you can also think of the word activist as somebody who's outspoken about what's going on, right? The UK gets annexed to what? To the US? Maybe. But activist is anybody who's what? Outspoken, speaking out against what's going on, protesting. Activism. Generally, that's my general understanding of the word activist. But if activist starts getting conflated with, enemy of the state or a danger to national security, well, then, all these things can be conflated wrongly. And this is conflating these words in such a way is the ultimate in what supposedly this movement it rails against, right? Which is trying to change the meaning of words, trying to conflate particular views or attitudes with wrongthink. It can be done just as effectively from the right as from the left. Tulsi Gabbard had picked somebody for a top intelligence post, and that is going to be not going to happen. Scheduled appointment highlighted an emerging foreign policy fault line in the new Trump administration. Apparently, they were nominated. She nominated somebody who was anti-Israel. Daniel Davis was supposed to be appointed to an intelligence position with direct influence on the president, but his critical statements about the Israeli response to October 7th led to the cancellation of the appointment. Davis says that the U.S. support for Israel during the war was a stain, along with other statements. The appointment was canceled by the intelligence chief after Jewish and pro-Israeli officials criticized him. Yeah, how right. Yeah. What is it? What is the power that they have over, what is it? Unless it's being just completely allowed for some other reason. But what, if they have some kind of compromise on everyone, compromat, what is it? Do they have a nuclear warhead somewhere sitting under the White House somewhere, or under an important building in New York or something? Do they have something? They're like, we got our finger on the button, and if you guys really mess it up, we'll just drop something on the button. Oopsie. Is it something like that? It could be. I wouldn't put it, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. Amid significant backlash, DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard has withdrawn Daniel Davis from the deputy DNI role. It's deeply troubling he was even considered. This is from Stop Anti-Semitisms. Commend President Trump's effort to strengthen U.S.-Israel. Strengthen. Well, they need to be even stronger still. All right. We stand ready to assist in vetting to ensure this never happens again. Jake Shields asks, why do Jews get to decide who Tulsi selects for deputy director? It's pure insanity that we allow this. Yes, it is pure insanity that we allow this. But somebody somewhere has something on somebody that is just so terrible. By the way, I didn't even mention, some folks have been talking about the unplugged phone that's Eric Prince. Blackwater Eric Prince has been marketing as a new secret secure phone, but they're made in Israel. Remember when they put out all the pagers? Made a bunch of pagers with the just having, why would you have a secure phone made from sold by Eric Prince from Blackwater? It just doesn't sound very, this is me, it just doesn't sound very secure. There are other secure phones. Maybe look at some other ones other than the Eric Prince model, but that's just me. Trump called Chuck Schumer a Palestinian because he's such an activist. He's so woke. Brianna Joy Gray, imagine the reaction if someone used Jewish as a slur the way Trump is using Palestinian. Imagine the uproar. Imagine if an anti-Zionist said John Fetterman is a Jew. As far as I'm concerned, he's become a Jew. He used to be a Christian. He's not Christian anymore. He's a Jew. Imagine. Trump says Schumer is a Palestinian. As far as I'm concerned.
And Schumer is a Palestinian, as far as I'm concerned. He's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian. Okay. And Schumer is a Palestinian, as far as I'm concerned. He's become.
Also stuff that, more stuff that just doesn't make any sense, right? Does this really make any sense? Yes, AOD, that's a good name. Gene Whitworth says, I think Trump's adherence to the Zionist principles will be his undoing. We'll see. Yeah, I think people see too much, have seen too much. One of the very obvious ways you can see the backlash against what Trump is doing is the stock market just doing what it's doing, crypto doing what it's doing, Tesla in particular tanking, and all of these. The confidence is a very low confidence situation right now. Very low trust with the American people and the Trump administration. And, it's probably going to continue because they're going to keep on doing, it might be, I was saying too yesterday that the Biden, what the Biden administration just kept doing things that just, were more and more terrible, like just making the dumbest possible moves. While everybody, or most people who had a couple of brain cells were going, well, this doesn't make any sense. This looks worse than the last thing you did. That looked pretty bad. You guys just seem to want to lose all support whatsoever. But then, insisting that everybody support these people or else, they're crazy. But I feel like Trump is going down the same road. They just insist on doing just dumb shit. And they're just going to keep on doing it. They're just going to keep on making moves that are worse than the last move until people are like, I don't know what's going on. Hence the blowback. Oh, sorry about that. That was a rookie move. Again, though, everybody thinks Trump is here to oversee. Not everybody, but several people. And it's, in my estimation, I'm not the learned scholar that other people are, but in my estimation, it's looking like that's most probable. A most probable likelihood is that, Trump is here to dole out whatever the answers are to the problem that they created or are going to create. Which that's a most likely scenario, but that's, that's the end result of a decades long plan. It wasn't just like, one day we had democracy and the next day we had fascism because everybody voted for fascism. What a bunch of dummies. Oy vey. I was like, okay. All right. But yeah, so this is the end result of all of that. Of, many machinations over many, many years. And maybe Trump is just here to oversee the end. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the beginning. I don't know. I'm afraid. Using Palestinian as a pejorative to describe a fellow rabid Zionist will not play well. It doesn't make any sense. That's the thing is it's like the guy in Miami who shot some people that he thought were Palestinians and they ended up being other, fellow Jews. That's how dumb this shit is getting, right? You have Rahm Emanuel, a freaking, right? He's got to be, Zionist stalwart. He's also on the team, saying he's going to challenge Trumpism from the center of what? The center of what? What exactly are you the center of? It looks bizarre, and maybe the idea that it's everybody, who's in power is somehow working for the same team agenda on the same club, all compromised by the same people. I feel like people are waking up to that reality. But what if you lose enough support? It's hard to keep going. I don't know. The options are, beat everybody into submitting to the new reality, or you're going to have to take a couple of steps back because everybody's going to be like, nah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this, bro. We are not doing this, So what, do they need public support to keep doing this or not? Or do they just put everybody in a position where everybody is in so much pain that they're like, so I'll ask you again. The answer to 2 + 2 is what? Please, sir. It's 5. Please. Please. Give us some more. That's what I thought. That's wild stuff, though. Hundreds of Jews and allies have taken over Trump Tower, chanting, "We want justice." You say how? Bring Mahmoud home now. And fight Nazis, not students. Will bully for y'all. The civil disobedience is spawned by the ICE arrest of Palestinian student Mahmoud Khalil. Yeah. These are Jewish people that don't agree with the Zionist agenda or whatever the hell. You know, they're trying to use the flag or the martyrdom of the Jewish people in this whole like thing, but that's not what it is. But good on these folks for getting out there and doing it. Let's see. I gotta pull something from yesterday. And there are protests across the country. UC Berkeley students walked out, joining nationwide protest demanding the release of Palestinian Columbia University student Mahmoud Khalil and an end to U.S. funds to Israel. And the right, yeah, Malcolm Young. Yeah, I think you're right. They're really trying their hardest though to make it seem like, oh, somehow these people are being funded or they're, not, again, the gaslighting is strong. But somehow people don't actually feel this way. Pulling a couple things from yesterday that I didn't get to. Oh, I think we did this one. Well, or maybe I did. Israel First Republicans are officially the nation's top campus snowflakes. They are so triggered by anti-genocide college protesters that they try to get them deported. In this case, a young Palestinian man who hasn't been charged with any crime. Okay, that was the setup for this other post I wanted to put here from Jeffrey Sachs. Come on now. No, come on now. Really? Did Jeffrey Sachs get sacked? Oh, hold on. Hecka no. Really, dude? Hold on. That was a pretty juicy post. Is this who? Hold on one second. I'm just trying to find this. Okay. They are so impossibly out of control on this 5-alarm fire. Stunning interview with DHS Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar and Michael Martin just now. The conflation of protest and terrorism stopped me cold. Here is some of this. Michael Martin, is any criticism of the government a deportable offense? Troy Edgar, like I said, as a student, he comes to the United States on a student visa, applies. Let me put it in this way, Michael. Imagine if he came in and filled out the form and said, I want a student visa. They asked him, what are you going to do here? I'm going to go and protest. And Michael Martin asks, is protesting a deportable event? It is not, by the way. We should never have let him in this country. Is protesting a deportable offense? Like I said, you're focused on protests. I'm focused on a visa process. He went through a legal process, came into the country. And are you saying that he lied on his application? He's a lawful permanent resident, married to an American citizen. I think if he would have declared he's a terrorist, we would have never let him in. What did he actually engage in that constitutes terrorist activity? I mean, Michael, had he watched it on TV? It's pretty clear. Wow. All right. In Argentina, the Malay government has shut down Congress. The economy is spiraling out of control in Argentina. Pensions are evaporating. Wild scenes out of Argentina as protesters are clashing with police. Cops have deployed water cannons, tear gas, and are shooting people with rubber bullets. President Javier Milei slashed pension funds. Inflation is over 23%, and over 50% of the people live in poverty. Donald Trump and Elon Musk idolize this guy, and this is their plan for the U.S. Well, that's where Musk got his Chainsaw Act from. Yeah, that's true. Denver, the internet and social media just gets dialed up to project a vocal minority and mute anything running contrary to the narrative. Yeah. All right, almost done, guys. If you like the show, if you want to support the show, if you like this show coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, and you want to keep seeing this show coming to you on the regular, please consider supporting the show at any of the links that you could find in the description box. All the usuals are there: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, etc., etc. Many of you support the show already. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. And we'll just play this for, I don't know if this is more revelation or... After 10 years of silence, the former official finally decided to review the footage, and after careful consideration says 9/11 was a controlled demolition. Oh, really?
That 9/11 was a false flag.
For the first 10 years, I did not think anything other than the official narrative. Then, after being shown a close-up video of building number 7 coming down, and that got me going, because it's obvious to me that building 7 was a controlled demolition, because the building collapses from the bottom down. The trade centers were unique in that they were designed to withstand the impact of a jet. From what I understand, the outer skeleton of the building, the outer columns was like a fishnet, and you had these inner core columns, which was substantial, thick steel beams to withstand 4 or 5 times what the loads were. The engineers always over-design a building. No steel frame building has ever collapsed. And if you could visualize cast iron stoves stacked one on top of each other. The stoves up at the top, yes, there's fire and they've been damaged, but the stoves on the bottom, they haven't been damaged.
Okay.
So the structure underneath all of that is intact. So it's impossible for a building to collapse near free fall speed and increase
without a controlled demolition.
You're running into the path of most resistance.
I
So
see.
something.
Okay. Well, there's just a little clip there. I don't know if we need to review the footage much more or even review the story, but I like the way you put the analogy of the cast iron stoves. It just ain't going to happen like that. Whatever way they said that it happened, it's not going to happen like that. But it's cool if you have the power and the power of the media behind you. You can pretty much tell people that, you can tell them that science or data and evidence means whatever you want it to mean. So it doesn't, or tell them that 2 + 2 = 5. Today, it equals 5. Because Trump said it equaled 4. So, of course it equals 5, because, you don't want to be a Trump supporter, do you? What? Say what? All right. And that's how they get you to say or believe anything they want you to. It's not really that hard. Steph C says, is it any wonder we're doomed when people like this guy didn't even think about the narrative he was told for 10 years? Building 7 has been on video for all those years. Yeah. And I don't really like, to my own credit, I don't go too hard in arguing with people on stuff like this when people, try to give me an alternate theory on this, or something that, just doesn't really necessarily align with data and evidence or science or physics. I try to stay away from the arguments, but I really do. But if you think it happened kind of like the story that they told you, but you don't know that Building 7 just kind of fell down because it was hot. I don't know. I don't know what the explanation for that one is. Paul McCartney, dead or alive? I don't know. Actually, you know what, Salt Lakers? I'll answer that one for you. I watched that Beatles documentary, the one that's on Disney. Anybody watch that one? It's pretty good. Pretty good documentary. And in that documentary, you see that Paul is a talented dude. Paul is a very talented guy. And I'm like, so you replaced the former Paul with somebody who was just genius level talented. Like, I just don't know how, and looked exactly like him. That one is a stretch to me. That one is a real stretch to me. After watching that documentary, when I thought about it, thinking like, oh, so there was a dude. So was the other dude like kind of just not that talented, or was he replaceable? I don't know. They got some guy that looked exactly like him and who was just screamingly talented. Like, just, that kind of talent just isn't, is rare. It's a rare thing. It is a rare thing that somebody has that kind of ability. And so I just, I don't really necessarily agree with that one. But, I'm open to other ones. Yeah, Jim Morrison, is he still around? I don't know. Is he still alive? Did he disappear himself? Tupac, I think Tupac was a plant. I think Tupac was an industry plant, or he was, he was. Have you seen those videos of Tupac when he's younger and he's very effeminate? Very effeminate. And then he turns around and acts, then a couple of years later, he's like, bitches and hoes. And me getting dough. And, he's like real thuggy. Like, so he went from, nerdy, effeminate acting high school kid to super hardcore hood guy. No. I mean, if at very least he was just acting the part. And so it kind of actually throws a little bit of a, right, he put on the Black Panther jacket and the revolutionary headband and was like, okay. I don't, after seeing those earlier things, I'm like, who is this guy? Who's this guy? The Paul is dead rumor. Yeah. Steph C. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. We were lucky to get one Paul McCartney. Yes. I think so. I think there was one Paul McCartney and he was a talented motherfucker. He was really talented. You can't watch that video, watch him just sit down and just like, oh, I wrote a song. Do you want to hear this? And it's like, one of the most classic, iconic, beautiful things ever written. And he had like, every day was one of those, oh, here's another one. Here's like, nah. Malcolm Young, I was nerdy and all soft and gentle and had it kicked out of me like he did. Maybe did he turn? Sometimes I guess people. I mean, I was nerdy too, but I would, I became, I was revolutionary because I was anti-authority. And I might have been nerdy and revolutionary. I might have even been, soft spoken or reserved, if you will. But I don't know. I guess you could change her. I mean, who knows? I guess you could change your whole persona based on an evolution of ideals. Sure. You turned into a skinhead? Yeah. The guy who wrote Yesterday is the same as the guy who wrote Let It Be. Sure. Sounds like the same dude, right? It don't sound any different. I don't, and I don't. The whole theory that somehow the Beatles were some creation of intelligence agencies to wreak havoc with the youth's minds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily have a lot. Not all the conspiracy theories are winners. So they were all plants to ruin the youth's mind, but they had to take out John Lennon because he had too much power. He went astray. He was an MK Ultra dude gone astray. I don't know. Maybe. Was Jim Morrison an MK Ultra dude gone astray? Or was he just uber talented alcoholic? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe Tupac really was that person, but I believe he was, by photos and videos that I've seen of him, pre-blowing up, he looks like he was more of a Diddy creation than a real revolutionary. He was more Diddified than Public Enemy. All right, guys. Well, good chatting with you. Tomorrow is Substack only at 12 noon. I will see if I can, because my situation was a little bit different last Friday, but I'm going to see if I can make like a early post for it on Substack. So, I feel like people need that kind of like affirmation that yes, this thing is happening on this platform at this time. So if I can make like an early, live stream post on Substack for it, I will. But tomorrow is Substack only. Please, everyone, come over to the Black Bear News Substack, subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do. Get the app, or I think you can watch it on the browser. I will be broadcasting tomorrow at noon on Substack, and I will see all of you over there. I don't know if I have anybody to thank today. I appreciate you all. I really do. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hold on, just trying to find my way back to everything. Thanks, guys. Peace out. Bye.